Welcome to my views on news. Friday's first video, first news story is from Shire city of Tigray. Yesterday, it was reported by some Tigray's official news sources that meetings would be held between Tigray military commanders and ENDF military commanders in Shire. Reportedly, some meetings have been held in Shire. Secondly, Ethiopia is going to introduce national service. By national service, we mean military service. Eritrea is criticized by human rights organizations for conscription for mandatory military service and linking of military service and uh, education for youth in Eritrea. Which model is going to be followed by Ethiopia for its military service for youth in coming days? A draft has been submitted to Ethiopian House of People's Representatives, which is expected to approve the draft for military service for youth in Ethiopia. Thirdly, a Tanzanian political party issued a statement a few hours ago. ACT, Alliance for Change and Transparency, is the name of the party, third largest political party in Tanzania. The party is accusing Isaias Afwerki, Eritrean president, of spoiling the peace agreement signed between TPLF and Ethiopian federal government in November this month. And lastly, Hassan Sheikh was back on front lines in the fight against Al-Shabaab. He visited Hirshabelle yesterday, second visit in around a week. And secondly, Al-Shabaab fighters have launched an attack in Gulmudug. We have details for you. Firstly, Shire city of Tigray, where some meetings have been held between Tigray military commanders and Ethiopian National Defense Force commanders. Yesterday, Olusegun Obasanjo, African Union's High Representative, arrived in Tigray. He briefed Tigray's political religious leadership, and he said that foreign forces would not be allowed to be in Tigray. So he assured the people, leaders, that Eritrean forces would withdraw from Tigray. And then Tigray official sources reported that some meetings were due to be held in Shire city between Tigray military commanders and ENDF military commanders in Shire. Reportedly, some meetings have been held. Some could be planned in coming days. Some meetings have been held in Shire between the two sides. Meetings focused on disengagement and disarmament was discussed too. Problem is that there is not just ENDF in Shire. In Shire, there is ENDF, there is Eritrean military, there are Amhara forces, Fano fighters too. So ENDF is not the in charge in Shire. ENDF is not in charge in Adwa as well. We know that it was mainly Eritrean commanders who were leading the offensive from the north on Tigray forces when the third round of fighting started in August this year. Eritrea was calling the shots. Eritrean military commanders were calling the shots. Meetings have been held, yes. Relations between Tigray military commanders, ENDF military commanders, they are improving. They are meeting on the ground. They're discussing the ideas about disarmament, about demobilization, about disengagement. Eritrean military is not part of these talks. Reportedly, EDF has not been part of any talks which have been held so far in Tigray. Let's hope that there is some sort of engagement between Tigray military commanders and Eritrean military commanders too. I've been saying that for lasting peace in the Horn of Africa, there must be dialogue between Tigray region and Eritrean government. Yes, Ethiopian federal government can be part of talks as well. But the hate will persist This distrust will persist between Tigray and Tigray region and Eritrea if there is no political engagement. You see that a few months ago, Tigray was using the word genocider for PM Abiy. It was using the same word for ENDF, that they were committing atrocities against Tigrayans. And the Ethiopian federal government was using the word terrorist for TPLF. Now you see that both have controlled hate speech. They are addressing each other with good names, and the relation is improving. Same could happen between Tigray region and Eritrea too. It should be encouraged. That is the only way to ensure lasting peace in the Horn of Africa, especially between Ethiopia and Eritrea. But so far, no meetings between Tigray military commanders and Eritrean military commanders in Tigray. Secondly, viewers, Ethiopian government is going to introduce military service for youth. A draft has been prepared. It has been submitted to the House of People's Representatives. HOPR is expected to approve this draft. It will be put to vote, I think, in coming days, and draft could be approved. So it means that Ethiopia will have national service. Which model will be followed by Ethiopia? Eritrean model, which is a notorious model because Eritrean diaspora, human rights organizations, they accuse Eritrea of conscription, that military service, national service is indefinite, atrocities are committed against youth, and linking of education and students' educational activities and military training is against basic rights of individuals in Eritrea, basic rights of students too. Ethiopian national service is voluntary. What we have learned so far is that anyone who has completed his secondary school education will be entitled to receive 2-year-long military training. And after that, these trainees can become part of National Reserve Force. Members of National Reserve Force will be entitled to all rights and benefits. So it's voluntary, not mandatory. Eritrean military service for youth is mandatory. That is what's called conscription. And even families are targeted if they don't send the children to training center for the military trainings. I have been reporting in recent days that some journalists and others were arrested because their sons did not report for training at military training center. But in Ethiopia, a softer model is being adopted. But I want to make one point. When Eritrea started military service for youth, I think it wasn't that harsh. It wasn't indefinite, but gradually it turned into a sort of nightmare for some Eritrean youth. So it could happen in Ethiopia too. If wars continue, if conflicts remain unresolved, this voluntary military service could turn into a mandatory military service too. But so far, it's voluntary. But since incentives are being offered, that is why a large number of youth will definitely join the service. Let's see, will Ethiopian House of People's Representatives approve the draft for military service for youth? That remains to be seen. Thirdly, viewers, a Tanzanian political party lashed out at Isaias Afwerki, Eritrean president, in a statement a few hours ago. Party's name is Alliance for Change and Transparency, ACT, led by Zito Kabwe. Small political party with just 4 seats in the House. It is third largest political party in Tanzania. And party's leader Zito Kabwe has issued a statement. The party says that it welcomes the agreement signed between TPLF and Ethiopian federal government in Pretoria, South Africa, but the party claimed that Tigray has implemented its side of the agreement, but Eritrea is playing the role of a spoiler. Well, Tigray has not implemented its side of the agreement. Disarmament was agreed by Tigray Population Fund in South Africa. It has not been implemented so far. But the party said that Tigray has implemented its part of the agreement. And secondly, it says that Eritrea is playing the role of a spoiler. That Amhara forces, Amhara expansionists and Eritrean ruler Isaias Afwerki, they are undermining the peace agreement. The party is demanding implementation of the peace agreement. It says that PM Abiy should publicly tell Eritrean forces and Amhara forces to leave Tigray. The party statement is definitely inclined towards TPLF. Why is that? Why is this party inclined towards TPLF? Because Tigray side has not implemented its part of the deal. Withdrawal of forces and disarmament both are linked and both are pending. Lastly, viewers, Somalia, where Hassan Sheikh is leading his troops on front lines. He visited Hirshabelle around a week ago, and yesterday he was back in Hirshabelle. In Hirshabelle, we know that we have seen fighting between Al-Shabaab fighters and government forces. He addressed government forces while in Hirshabelle. Meanwhile, Al-Shabaab has launched another attack on Kaib village, which is in Galmudug. This is second Al-Shabaab attack on Kaib village in Galmudug in around 17 days. Government media claims that Al-Shabaab's attack on Kaib has been repelled. Al-Shabaab claims it has overrun a military base of Somalia's forces in Kaib. Fighting is still ongoing. Kaib is very strategic. Kaib is situated around 90 kilometers away from Dhusa Marib main city. And you see that 17 days ago, Al-Shabaab fighters attacked Kaib. Somali forces repelled the attack. Today, another attack. You'll see this happening. I always say in videos that this war against Al-Shabaab is a long war. It requires commitment, sustained commitment. So far, so good. Hassan Sheikh is leading his troops from the front. He's trying to create internal unity as well. International players involved too in supporting Somalia's government. Regional players involved too. So far, so good. Al-Shabaab, though not considerably weakened, but it is still a little under pressure. Thank you for watching.